Hey, I'm Andy Chanley from 88.5, the SoCal Sound, and this is a SoCal Sound session with Modern English. Welcome.
Hello everybody.
Hi, Andy.
Joined today by, from my left to right, Robbie Gray, a vocalist from Modern English. Next to him is Mick Conroy on bass and vocals. And over here is Steve Walker, keyboard player. You guys just did Cruel World Festival like days ago with, let's see, who was there? Susie and Iggy and Billy Idol and Gary Newman. What was the experience? How was it for you?
It was amazing. It's amazing. I mean, we had because we were on the main stage, and at the time we were playing, there wasn't another band playing on another stage. We were really lucky. We probably had about 35,000 people in front of us, and everyone was singing "I Melt With You" to us. So it was pretty amazing.
It's pretty cool.
And to be in the company of, Susie and Iggy Pop. Iggy Pop was the best thing on that day until the rain clouds burst the bubble.
Yeah, rain and beginning of summer in Los Angeles.
Really, but yes. Gang of Four played.
Yeah,
they were incredible.
Yeah, they were great.
And they just lost a member of this.
It's a long story, that. Andy Gill, the original guitar member, but they'd split up anyway.
Wow. Well, it has to be fun to those are your contemporaries now for 40 years. Some of those people.
Yeah,
it was great to see Echo and Bunnyman as well.
It's like a family reunion for you as much as a.
I enjoyed Gary Newman too. So I mean, we actually saw quite a few bands between us.
I mean, most of the bands we'd seen like 40 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
For like 75 pence.
And I'm sure it was the same at Brookside at the Rose Bowl. I'm sure it was that was the going rate.
Right.
Who were you most excited to see play? I know you probably, like we said, you probably seen them, most of them, if not all of them. But who were you most anxious in your mind going into it? I want to go and see their set.
Susie for me, and I didn't go back to watch her the next day either. So I'm pissed about that, as they say over here.
Anyway.
But I've got tickets for a festival near my house in England, and she's headlining there. So I'm going to make sure I see her.
Nice. Nice.
Does sound like it might be her last tour.
I don't know what the other guys.
Gang of Four for me. We played and they came on about just as we were coming off, but on a different stage. So we got in a golf buggy and were driven round the outside of the site, and they were amazing. It was great.
It was great to see them, wasn't it? No. I mean, I think I agree. Gang of Four for me, it was really great to see them. They put on. It's another really energetic singer like our own, and he was jumping around.
I was very pleased to see a singer who put some energy into his performance, because he's the same age as me. To be honest, that's the first time I've seen Gang of Four, and they were fantastic. But I was really pleased to see...
Some 40 years later, it's the first time.
Yeah, but I was so pleased to see him throwing himself around the stage. It was great.
Similar kind of build as well, kind of tall
big
and
wiry guy. We had a good old chat as well about it.
They're nice.
Yeah, they were nice people. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Going back to those times, back to the beginning, was it 79?
That's pretty much.
Yeah. And it's Colchester, right? Which is that's like northeast of London?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that at that time, the prevailing wind was more punk than anything else. What was influencing you when you started to make music professionally?
Sex Pistols.
Well, it was. I mean, the Sex Pistols, when they came out, it was. I mean, they always had great press. People like Malcolm McLaren, it was like the filth and the fury, and it was rebellious straight away. So if you're young, you're into what's going on. And when the Sex Pistols started, it was instant that you could play the guitar. If you could play a bar chord on the guitar, you could form a punk rock band.
Basically, before punk rock music was what other people did.
Yeah.
Well, both Mick and I worked in record shops around that time as well, and I mean, there were other things before the Sex Pistols. I mean, you were a big Bebop Deluxe fan. I seem to remember I was a big Cockney Rebel fan. So there was...
It's David Bowie, Roxy Music.
Oh, David Bowie and Roxy Music,
it all morphed from like David Bowie, Roxy Music, Kraftwerk and the Velvet Underground. And also disco music.
Yeah, I used to love disco stuff as well. I used to like going out dancing. Yeah, definitely. But it was punk rock that got us going.
We get to talk to them for a little while yet, but I buried the lead. They're going to perform for us as well. And you have new music coming out. Now, the band basically broke up in, what, 87, and then got back together a few years later, and there have been different lineups along the way, but now you're back and setting up a serious tour, and you have a new album that's coming out at the end of the summer?
Hopefully, yeah.
And I've got to be honest with you, I didn't know what to expect going in, but I've already heard you playing.
Hold on, can I just say that's the first time we've ever played those songs live? The two new songs, Crazy Lovers and Long in the Tooth. So, you know, you're lucky.
I'm into it, and we'll talk about this in just a second, about what it kind of reminds me of. But is that the first one we're going to hear, Crazy Lovers?
The first song was
That's
Crazy
the first
Lovers,
one,
yeah.
It's modern English, and Crazy Lovers, a world premiere, I suppose.
I'm the kind of guy who counts the stars. I'm the kind of person that won't go far. I'm always listening to sound. It all goes round and round. You crazy lovers, you step above us. I still don't know what time it is. I still don't know what day it is. You crazy lovers, you step above us. I still don't know what time it is. I still don't know what day it is. Then we listen to sound. It all goes round and round. I'm the kind of person who won't be found. I'm always listening to sound. It all goes round and round. It all goes round and round. You crazy lovers, you step above us. I still don't know what time it is. I still don't know what day it is. You crazy lovers, you step above us. I still don't know what time it is. I still don't know what day it is. And then we listen to sound. It all goes round and round. You crazy lovers, you step above us. I still don't know what time it is. I still don't know what day it is. You crazy lovers, you step above us. I still don't know what time it is. I still don't know what day it is. Then we listen to sound. It all goes round and round. Crazy lovers. Crazy lovers, round and round and round. Crazy lovers, round and round and round. Crazy lovers, count the stars.
That's Crazy Lovers from Modern English. First time you're probably hearing that. The first time I heard it today. And do you want my opinion?
Yeah, of course we do.
First thing that came to my mind, it kind of reminded me of if on Wire's Pink Flag album, they were 3-minute pop songs instead of 45-second, song sketches. So it's kind of like Wire's Pink Flag with synthesizers. Yeah. Does any of that ring true to you?
Completely.
Well, we were massive fans of
all
Wire.
of us, every single one of us is a Wire fan.
Of all the bands you could mention to each member of this band, they would be right up there.
But it's like a Lowdown or a Fragile, but like a 3-minute pop song version of it. That's heaps of fun.
I've never thought of it like that, but I'm glad you think of it like that. Yeah. It's great.
So tell me about the new album.
Over to you, Mick.
Well, lockdown happened, and we me and Rob lived really close to each other in England, and it was we were supposed to be touring, to do After the Snow 40 years, but of course lockdown with COVID put a stop to all of that, and so we both have this program called Logic, and basically we were making music, sending it to each other, and talking on the phone. But we communicated mainly through files on our computer. It's like, here's a chunk of music, and then Rob would send it back with vocals on certain parts or all of it. I always say to Rob, the email, usual rules apply.
If it's rubbish, get rid of it.
And it's like, and that means if he can't put anything on it, just ignore it. And
then we got Gary and the guitarist into Mix Studio, and he started forming, an album. Really, it was really good fun.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to do some music that isn't based around any kind of commerciality, looking for a hit, trying to get on the radio, if there is any such thing anymore. Really, you know what I mean? We just do what we want because I Melt With You pays all our bills, so we can do what we want.
Yeah.
I think when you actually get a chance to hear the whole album, you will see there's a multitude of influences on it. From bands we've mentioned already, Velvet Underground, maybe a bit of Wire, as you mentioned. There's still obviously that little hint of Joy Division. But it's all there. All of our influences.
There's even a Tiny Fontaines DC kind of thing going on now.
We
Their first LP when it came out, in The Guardian, they said it sounds like the first modern English album.
Nice. That's great.
I mean, the stuff is, for us, I wrote 2 songs completely myself. I've never done that before. Long in the Tooth and another song called Genius. And I can't really play anything, so I just do everything. Stop, start, 8 bars of this, 8 bars of that. So things move and change really quickly, but not with a lot of musicality. It's just, here comes this and here comes that. And so that's where you might get the Wire bit from.
Yeah. And also on the album, when Gary came to the studio, basically the songs were done. But we got Gary, he's got great guitar sounds, but in particular, we were looking for like the Mick Ronson stroke first Banshees album. So everything's kind of like going back to what I'm saying about the one chord. It's like just...
We kind of got back to our roots
noise.
Quite a bit on the album, to be honest.
Yeah.
But because we know how to write songs now, we never used to know how to do that. On the Mesh and Lace album, we didn't know anything about songwriting. We just made music.
Sections.
After The Snow came, Hugh Jones showed us, the producer, how to write verse, chorus. You can't really get rid of that once you get
keep the bars to even numbers. Don't throw in 7s and 9s and 15s.
Well, we've changed that on this album.
Yes.
This album does have time it goes around 5 times instead of 4.
We tried to mess with it a little bit, so it's not just traditional.
You learn the rules to break the rules.
Yeah,
exactly.
that kind of thing.
Let's hear another song in a second. Before I get to that, you just mentioned Mesh and Lace, your first album, and then the song I Melt With You has the what's the lyric?
Never really knowing.
Thrashing around your face, never really knowing. It was always Mesh and Lace. Now I know what that conjures for me. It conjures kind of a middle ground between punk and femininity sort of thing. Like there's a crossroads there. Was that a phrase that was going around? Is that a colloquialism, or is that just a theme that you had?
It was just for good and bad. Soft and hard, that's what it means. And we had a song called Mesh and Lace that was going to go on the Mesh and Lace album, but we never put it on there. So I wanted to reference that song as well a little bit. So, there's lots of reasons for it, but the actual meaning is hot and cold, black and white, good and bad, really.
But invented by Rob.
There was a lot of mesh around in those days, wasn't it? It was early goth days. A lot of girls were wearing little
it's true.
bits of mesh.
Thanks to Vivian Westwood.
Exactly, yes. It all ties in. The fashion world did tie in with punk. Obviously, it did.
And now it seems to have gone full circle. Being a cruel world, you saw it all again.
Oh, I'm sure you saw plenty of mesh. Plenty of mesh. Let's hear another song. This one is called Long in the Tooth. It's another one off the new album. Does it have a name yet, the album?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Amazing. A Pink Floyd reference. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's hear. This is Long in the Tooth, Modern English on 88.5, the SoCal Sound.
I'm longing the truth. And now everything's breaking and occasionally shaking. I can't see out my window. I'm longing the truth. It's taken a lifetime, taken a lifetime, taken a lifetime. I'm longing the truth. I know something, it might be nothing. I know something that you don't know. I know something, it might be nothing. I know something that you don't know. I know something, it might be nothing. I know something that you don't know. I know something, it might be nothing. I know something that you don't know. It's taken a lifetime, taken a lifetime, taken a lifetime. I'm longing the truth. Something, it might be nothing. I know something that you don't know.
Long in the Tooth from Modern English, another premiere here on 88.5, the SoCal Sound. These new songs, so we said they're going to be coming out at the end of, looking at maybe September for release of this album?
There'll be things coming out here and there for, online, digital sort of formats, online stuff. When the album actually comes out as a physical release, who knows at the moment.
Right.
We're still waiting for artwork and 3 mixes.
Yeah.
I'm excited. It really sounds good. You should be gratified.
Yeah, we're really excited about it.
We got to talk about, you're in the Valley, you're in the San Fernando Valley. Valley Girl is one of the greatest cinematic masterpieces, and if anybody disagrees, I'll fight them. It's fantastic.
I disagree with it.
It's so good. It's so good. It's the best Nicolas Cage movie there is. By the way, Mind Blown. You've seen the movie, right?
Yeah, we were at the premiere, the launch of it.
Mind Blown. I just realized, my wife and I, we had a long story. We had a newborn, and we started watching Breaking Bad, and then stopped for like a decade, and we finally went back and watched it. John, what's his name? The guy that Michael Bowen plays Tommy, his antagonist in this thing. That guy grows up. He's Jack Welker in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I did not put that together. Did not put that together. It looks so different. But that song in that movie at that moment, it just captured teen romance and teen angst so well. And the thing that's weird to me is that all this time later, and maybe it's my perception at the age that I was when I first heard it, but it still seems evergreen. It still seems to capture that.
Did you know it's in the first series of Stranger Things as well? So
Also set in 1986.
So the youth of today have grabbed hold of it as well.
Whole new audience again.
If you go onto YouTube, if I can say that, there's so many different versions of I'm Out With You covered by choirs. Cello, that's not a cello, is it? No. Harps. Harpsichordist.
This is the universal symbol for it.
That means cello.
There's
It's
surfer
amazing how many
versions, there's
versions are on
punk
there.
versions, there's
Yeah.
everything, isn't there?
Bowling Soup did it.
Yeah. Bowling for Soup, yeah.
Nouvelle
right.
Vague have done it. A Bossa Nova version.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of stuff out there.
But going back to the film, I think it hasn't haunted us. I don't mean that. I don't mean it rudely. It obviously did us the power of good at the time. But it didn't just stop at California. I mean, it's a popular film in Australia. It's kind of got our name around everywhere, really. probably not so popular in Europe, is it? Actually, Valley Girl as a film.
Well, and it's some of the first, widespread exposure in the mainstream for Depeche Mode, and lots of bands on that soundtrack. It's a phenomenal soundtrack.
Psychedelic Furs.
Only takes one person in the know to do the music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still the same today.
And nowadays, you can't watch a film without it having a great soundtrack.
Right.
Or, that seems to be
That
one of the major
40
things.
years ago, and
But that was
they
Nicolas
just nailed
Cage's
it.
breaking movie, really, wasn't
First
it?
film.
That was his kind of...
Yeah, that was it. What else has kept you busy during these last few decades? If you weren't making music, what was making you happy?
I've got a house in Thailand I go to in the winter, but we can still do music backwards and forwards from there. But we're always doing music.
Yeah.
Always doing music.
What about you, Mick?
Living on a boat, having a dog, going for walks, and sending files to Thailand.
And moving to America, I think that was quite a big one.
Yeah, recently.
Just moved to upstate New York.
Upstate New York.
I've got to mention my dog, actually. Just died, my little dog.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just to bring everybody down.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That was.
What about you, Steve?
Well, I run like an online record store. I do that, so that's how I've just always loved music. I mean, like I said, me and Mick kind of met in a record shop many, many years ago, and I still keep going back to it. Whenever I do something else, I keep going back to looking at
This
new
music
records.
for all of us, really.
It is.
I went in, Steve's got this kind of like warehouse thing in his back garden, and a warehouse that's somewhere else. But I walked into his kind of like record emporium thing, and from my days of working in the record shop, decades ago, I could recognise the records from the spines.
Oh yeah,
thinking,
isn't that crazy?
It's like
And it's
there's a pile of
vinyl.
VLO.
Vinyl's back, isn't it?
Yes. Oh yeah. I got a turntable a year ago. I have a 12-year-old boy, and I've taught him how to take care of vinyl, and it's just a fantastic tactile thing.
But you remember when the artwork was nearly as important as the music?
Oh yeah,
So,
ELO you just mentioned. You open up Out of the Blue, come
so
on.
we're excited to have the artwork again for when we press up the vinyl. We were excited about that probably as much as the music.
That's great.
That's
exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, we've taken a little too long, and we don't have time for I Melt With You today. So we're just going to wrap it up.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah, that's going to work.
Brilliant.
We will close with I Melt With You, and we'll let that music have the last word here. But Robbie, Mick, Steve, thank you so much for coming by and visiting.
You're welcome.
Thanks for making this the first place you're sharing this new music. I'm already a fan of it. And safe travels to you. Where next?
Seattle to do a
KEXP.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they're good up there.
Yeah, that's great. And then Washington, D.C., the 9:30 Club from many moons ago is reopening, but as the Atlantis. And for 44 nights, they're having what were their favourite 44 bands that played over the many decades that have passed. And the Foo Fighters on the first night, and we're on about the fourth.
Awesome.
Doing 2 shows on the same
sold
day.
out 2 shows.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's going to be amazing. I think the Breeders are playing as well. I mean,
Pixies are, aren't
the
they?
night
Yeah,
after us
definitely.
is
Pixies,
Franz Ferdinand. So
Yeah, it'd be nice to hang around a bit longer.
Yeah. That sounds like
And then we go home, then we come back after about 6 weeks and do a kind of more East Coast, Midwesty type thing. Going to places that we wouldn't normally go to, just to try going to different places,
places we haven't been to for
long.
decades.
Columbus, Ohio will be one of them.
nice.
It's a college town, I've heard.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit of that, of the university. Thank you so much for coming by. Best of luck in your travels with the new album. Can't wait to hear the rest of it. And they're going to play you out here with a bit of an anthem. Here on 88.5, the SoCal Sound. I'm Andy Chanley. This is Modern English.
All my breath, making love to you was never second best. I saw the world crashing all around your face, never really knowing it was always mesh and lace. stop the world, it melts with you. You've seen the difference, and it's getting better all the time. There's nothing you and I won't do. I'll stop the world, it melts with you. I dream of better lives, the kind which never hate. Trapped in a state of imaginary grace. I've made a pilgrimage to save this human's race, never comprehending the race that long gone by. I'll stop the world, it melts with you. You've seen the difference, and it's getting better all the time. There's nothing you and I won't do. I'll stop the world, it melts with you. Changes, but it's getting better all the time. There's nothing you and I won't do. I'll stop the world, it melts with you. The future's open wide. Getting better all the time. There's nothing you and I won't do. I'll stop the world and